That's it. Do it.
Ross Bolen Podcast. You better listen. Brought to you by Bolen Media. Ross Bolen.
Welcome to episode 256 of the Ross Bolen Podcast, otherwise known as RBP 256, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, Ross Bolen, here holding down the fort on a Friday by my lonesome. Big show today, though, with no calls. Emails, though. We've got some emails from y'all. We're going to be hearing from you in email form today. Some big-time merch and YouTube announcements as well, and so much more. Speaking of my Friday, I have a haircut a little bit later this afternoon. My hairstylist lady, haircut barber babe, has become far too popular. And I worked my entire adult life to find someone who could cut my hair and make me not look like a potentially inbred man boy. And I enjoyed a handful of years of the fruits of my labor. But little by little, as I continue to spread the good word about this woman and her skills, she's picked up more and more clients. No good deed goes unpunished, and now I'm stuck with a 5:30 on a Friday haircut. And the problem is we've got like some torrential fucking apocalyptic weather rolling in. Like as we speak, as I speak. I'm not trying to roll out, it's lunchtime right now. We've got like potential tornado shit coming in, hail and whatnot, hitting at like 3:30. Then I'm supposed to go out and get my haircut? At 5:30 on a 5:30 on a Friday is like, fuck the world, it's the weekend. I'm not doing shit. Responsible time. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's really not a bad move, like a nice little happy hour to go to the barber if you've got one of those ones that serves drinks and shit. Mine does, but I don't drink, so it doesn't matter. But and I try not to disrespect homegirl by rolling into her suite just like reeking of the loud, because her space is shared, with a bunch of suites or whatever, people in there grinding. And I haven't even been smoking weed this week though, so maybe I give myself a night off and just roll in absolutely faced. Tornado going on outside. Hail pouring down from the sky. Me in there getting my lettuce chopped. Stay tuned. By the way, we're going to have a YouTube announcement. Might as well do it now. We have a YouTube page now for everybody to watch this show. You don't just listen anymore. You watch. And it's youtube.com/Bolen Media. Bolen Media, our YouTube page, is going to host all the RBP and OCC videos. Okay? Very excited about this aspect of 2020, bringing video to the mix. But one thing you need to come to terms with up front. People keep commenting on how pale I am, how white I am, which feels racist, even when it's white people saying it to me. Like, if you said that shit to a black guy, it wouldn't fly. Because it's me and I'm white. It's weird. I am extremely white. I'm a white person. I have only shitty white DNA that keeps my skin looking ghostly. And in the wintertime, when sunshine is harder to come by, this is what I look like. I become a little vampiric. It is what it is. Get off my ass. In fucking July, I won't look like this. It's January. And I got nothing to bring to you melatonin-wise. I can't change this. No amount of gym or meditation is going to make me less pale. You're just going to have to get used to that part. That's all I'm saying. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Twitch, what's up, holler? You're going to have to get used to my white ass. If you want me inside recording all day, every day, this is what you get. I don't apologize for that. RBP 256 is brought to you by Felix Gray. And whether you're visually impaired or not, they make glasses you need to know about. Felix Gray, they're badass blue light blocking glasses. They've got prescription, they got non-prescription, they got kids, adults. They've got you covered. And you may not realize this. Americans, we blast our eyes with bright screens for 11 hours every day. And when you think about all the screens you're staring at, your computer screen, your TV screen, your phone all day, every freaking waking hour of your life, that really doesn't seem that crazy, the 11-hour mark. The fact is we cannot eliminate extensive screen time from our lives, but we can protect our eyes from it with a pair of Felix Gray blue light filtering glasses available in both non-prescription and prescription. I have their Faraday frames in black. Faraday is how you spell that particular model. They're gorgeous. I love them. I wear them every night when I game, when I watch TV and movies before bed. Throw them on, feel instant relief. They're incredible for glare as well. They eliminate 90% of high energy blue light, but 99% of glare coming from your daily barrage of screens as well. Unlike other blue light filtering glasses, Felix Gray uses proprietary blue light technology embedded into the lens, as opposed to some of their competition who use a cheap coating that can easily chip or scratch over time. They're on a mission at Felix Gray to make fashionable, high-quality blue light protection widely accessible by offering a variety of frames for all face shapes and style preferences. They're badass. Our first ever sponsor on Twitch as well, Felix Gray was. Don't go another day without without the help of some Felix Grays staring at all those screens. You need them. Go to felixgrayglasses.com/RBP. You get free shipping, 30 days of risk-free returns or exchanges. That's felixgrayglasses.com/RBP, FELIXGRAY glasses.com/RBP. If you're new to our show, the Ross Bolen podcast, almost every episode is broken down into segments, which you're going to be able to find with time cues below in the description. Now, some episodes may have a special guest or a special topic and be exceptions to that rule and be less segmented. But typically the idea is we segment this show, we timestamp all the different topics so that you can consume at your own pace based on your work or school or whatever schedule rules your life this year in 2020. You don't have to have listened to or heard a single one of the 255 episodes preceding this one. You don't. It doesn't matter. This could be your first time here. Welcome. If you like today's show, go back. You got 255 backlogged episodes to soak in and enjoy as you have the time, so have at them. Some announcements. First off, huge birthday shout out to my dude Bavik. Bavik, happy birthday, man. You rule. Thank you for all the support. He's just a badass random listener who I hear from all the time on Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat, and he emails me as well, and a girl named Courtney hit me up asking for a birthday shout out for Bavik, and it's like, well, fuck yeah, of course. New Drake and Future song came out today, which is always nice, even if Future is a great big phony. Happy birthday to Courtney, another Courtney, I believe. And congratulations on getting into medical school. Happy birthday to @Mr. Chivalron on Twitter, a.k.a. Keith. Shout out to all the SMU Kappas out there. Oh, by the way, y'all remember a couple weeks back when I left my laptop on top of my car and I drove away and it flew off on the feeder while I was doing like 55, and that resulted in my having to buy a new laptop. The laptop that flew off, by the way, was very, very old. Not that that makes it any less shitty. Well, it does. No, it does. It's like when an old person dies. That's what they do. They die. It was inevitable. We all knew it was going to happen. Inevitably, this laptop was going to fly. And it did. Point is, I was in the Apple store, and while I was there, I was like, well, fuck it. I'm here with the company card anyway. Daddy needs some new AirPod Pros to see what all the hype is about. So I bought some. Like an asshole. I've never had noise-canceling headphones. Sounds like a good, no pun intended, idea. Noise canceling. I like to cancel noise. So I grabbed some. Fuck these things, man. First, the noise canceling part is tight if you're sitting completely still and there's no wind blowing and nobody touches you. The fucking things won't stay in my ear. When I play basketball, when I go running, if I even lightly bob my head along to the music, they fall out. They're miserable. That being said, won't stay in my ear. They do cancel noise if you're on a bus or an airplane. And I have now washed mine in the washing machine twice, and they still work, which is cool. You have to leave them out, like, and let them dry for a couple days or whatever, but they still work, which is cool. Follow our show on Instagram @The Ross Bolen Podcast, where every day we fill up our story with photos and videos sent in by you, our listenership, otherwise known as the RBP Gang. We're also on Twitter @Ross Bolen Pod, and you can find us on Facebook if you're the middle-aged aunt of one of our listeners. Some amends. President Abraham Lincoln did not enjoy retirement. Richard Nixon did not enjoy impeachment. The population of China is 1.427 billion. First segment, how to dominate dry January. I received an email from a listener we'll call Damien. That's not his name. That's just funny to me. I'm going to read it to you. He said, "What's up, Ross? I'm Damien, and I've been listening to you since RBP 50. This email is kind of ironic to me because I wasn't 21 yet when I found this podcast. Anyways, after my last deployment, thank you for your service, I came home with bad anxiety, and it becomes worse when I drink. For New Year's, I have given up alcohol, but it is hard, and I was hoping you could tell me how you got through the first month or two. I know you are super busy, and my feelings won't be hurt if I don't hear back from you, but I remember you talking about sometimes you just have to shoot your shot. You were talking about trying to get a job, so it's a little different, but I felt like it could apply to this too. Even if I don't hear back from you, I just wanted you to know that you gave me the courage to talk about having anxiety, making me feel like it's okay to not have to drink with everyone, and gave me the confidence to even send you this email. Thanks for everything. Hopefully 2020 is the biggest year ever. Happy New Year, Damien." Okay, many of you are doing what's called dry January or sober January or whatever, which is, by the way, like a full-blown thing in the UK apparently. Just now making its way over to our drunk-ass country this past several years more and more. According to Wikipedia, Dry January is a public health campaign urging people to abstain from alcohol for the month of January, particularly practiced in the United Kingdom. And it's so particularly practiced there that on the Wikipedia page, practiced is spelled with an S. British style. So this campaign, as a formal entity, appears to be relatively recent, being described as having, quote, sprung up in recent years, even in 2014. However, the Finnish government of Finland had launched a campaign called Sober January in 1942 as part of its war effort. What? What a horrible concept. War is when you need to drink more. But that is not the time to be sober. The Finnish were like, we need to batten down the hatches and focus. No more drinking. We're too drunk. There's a war going on. Jesus, all you have to do is as long as you're drunk on the battlefield or like fighting the war still, you're good. Finland? Anyway, they went with Dry January. They registered a trademark. The a charity called Alcohol Concern registered a trademark for Dry January in mid-2014. The first ever Dry January campaign by Alcohol Concern occurred in January of 2013. In the lead up to the January 2015 campaign, for the first time, Alcohol Concern partnered with Public Health England. If you haven't heard of these things, it's because they're British, and you're in America. You're just uncultured swine. In January 2014, according to Alcohol Concern, which initiated the campaign, over 17,000 Britons stopped drinking for that month. They really caught the short end with that name. Americans sounds tight. Britons sounds like someone's made a spelling error. It's an O. Britons, right? It's fucking weird. There's controversy as to the efficacy. There's controversy as to how effective this shit is. Those are my words. The benefits of this practice of Sober January. A 2014 survey by the University of Sussex found that 6 months following January 2014, out of 900 surveyed participants in the custom, 72% had, quote, kept harmful drinking episodes down, and 4% were still not drinking. I mean, that seems like that's pretty damning evidence that Dry January is probably a good thing for people who have issues with drinking or that need to take a step back. 72% kept harmful drinking episodes down out of the 900. That's a great percentage, man. That's almost 3/4. Hashtag math. Anyway, point is, I didn't realize Dry January was a thing, much less that it was a British thing. Obviously, I've heard of it more and more in the past couple years. Micah did it our first year of this show's existence, our former co-host Micah. Now, I have been doing dry every month since October of 2017. I quit after abusing the shit out of alcohol as a social lubricant for 15 years-ish, in large part because I was sick and tired of torturing myself with anxiety and panic every single time I was hungover, right? I was tired of feeling like that. I was tired of feeling terrible. And also, my life had become, by and large, unmanageable with my drinking. It was just miserable. I was miserable. So I quit. And it was one of the hardest transitionary periods of my life. I've spent many episodes, many hours speaking to drinking, my drinking as a whole, drinking in our society, what it meant for me to quit, why I quit, all that stuff. But it was an insane... I'm arguably still in that transitionary period. Like, rebuilding my social habits, making my social calendar healthy. There are just a lot of adjustments you have to make. And it just takes a lot of getting used to, really. So, to get to your question, how did I get through the first month or two, or like any tips for the first month or two? It's just one day at a time, really. And really, this is the strategy for all difficult things in life. Heartbreak, overcoming trauma, beating addiction, instituting any kind of major change. It's just one day at a time. One game at a time, baby. Like, for real, you can frame it up that way. As cheesy as it may be, every day you could look at it that way. And it really is all about framing it up in your head. So much of this is that. Look at it every day as a game. You just have to beat that one game to move on to the next one. It's like Bill Belichick in the NFL. We beat Monday, no more questions, we're on to Tuesday. That's it. Simple as that. If you beat every day one by one with whatever it is you're facing. So many, we get emails and DMs from people all the time, like, my girlfriend dumped me, my wife left me, my boyfriend dumped me, my husband left me, my whatever. What do? I want to die. It's like, dude, it's heartbreak. It's brutal. You know, you can look at it as time heals all wounds, which is sort of the, like, fucking useless way of looking at it, in my opinion. Or you can look at it as, like, fuck that, day by day, every day is a game. You have to get through that day, beat that day, conquer that day, and get to the next one, and that's it. It'll make it so much easier, I promise. With drinking, it's the same fucking shit. You go day by day. It's even more important that you look at it one day at a time, drinking-wise. And I can't tell you how much more simple that makes things when you frame it up that way. You wake up, you're sober. All you have to do is maintain that until you go to sleep. That's the challenge. That's the game. Every fucking day. And you build on that. And eventually you stop thinking about it so much, hopefully. Some of us do. For me, it's been that way. For some people, it's not. Some people, they have to think about this shit every second of every minute that they're awake for the rest of their fucking lives. Fortunately, that is not me. And with this, there's other shit I think about every second of every minute of every day of my waking life. But this is not that for me. If you're trying to quit drinking, if you're trying to do dry January, and if you're struggling, another piece of advice, go to an AA meeting. It's not about whether or not you're an alcoholic or the labels or whatever, man. You're trying to quit drinking. You know what people in AA are doing? They're trying to quit drinking. Wouldn't it make sense to go sit with a like-minded group of individuals who's trying to fucking accomplish the same thing? People get so freaked out by this. I went the first, 2 or 3 months. And honest to God, I still to this day grapple with the concept of an alcoholic and alcoholism when it comes to that label for myself. But I loved AA. I went from fucking hating it as a kid. I had to go all for court-ordered shit when I was 18 to 23. Off and on again. I fucking hated it. I thought it was the cheesiest thing in the world. I hated the concept of oh, you could have a higher power, but it doesn't have to be God. You can just invent a fucking entity to hold you responsible. That's insane. But it's not. And it works. And there is a reason it's been around as long as it has been, and it's helped so many thousands of people stay dry over the years. Go to an AA meeting. Even if you don't think you have a drinking problem and you're just like, fuck, I need to get through dry January and I'm struggling and you need some perspective, you won't get better perspective on life, period, than in an AA meeting. I'm sure that's not the case. But for me, it's been one of the best places for perspective I've found. Seriously. And I don't mean that from just a drinking standpoint. It's a life thing. Go into an AA meeting. Get around some people you're not typically around. Get out of your fucking demographic, your bubble. Go learn about the real goddamn world. Be around some real people. If this is the problem for you. A lot of y'all are listening like, motherfucker, I'm around real people all day, every day. I got you. For those of you who are listening like, oh shit. Go. I'm telling you, it'll blow your mind. It will help so much. The perspective alone is like, dude, I sometimes find myself like, I kind of want to go to a meeting. Just to kind of feel that camaraderie and like the fucking... It's like, it's a room full of people struggling. And there's nothing more powerful than that. Struggling with the same shit. Anyway, if you're doing dry January, good luck. Congratulations. We're only, 10 days in? 10 days in, that's huge, though, if you've made it 10 days. That's fucking nuts. 10 is a nice, even number accomplishment. That's huge. Celebrate today with a drink. No, I'm just kidding. Don't. If you're doing dry January, great. Congratulations. If you're quitting alcohol completely, from a guy that did that, even bigger congratulations. Good for you. That's an incredible change to institute in your life. Good luck. It's very hard. It's very worth it if you can do it. Even if it's just for the month as a challenge to yourself. That's huge. That's awesome. Congrats for even trying it. It's incredibly difficult in America in 2020, but it's getting a little bit easier every day because we talk about this shit now, right? Next segment. Famous people we want to fight. I got another email from a listener. I told you all there's going to be emails today. I'm going to call him Sam Lamb. It's not his name. It's just funny to me. And I'm going to read it to you now. What up, Ross? You need to make sure you get this, so I couldn't risk it on the hotline. Let me read ahead a bit so I make sure I didn't. Okay, yeah. I'm not going to out this person. Just listening to the best of episode as I send this, and I realized famous people we want to fight doesn't get enough shine lately. In light of that, the famous person I want to fight is you. For not putting enough respect on its name, and because you're an Astros fan. Go Cards. I would fight you in the studio with Mike, AJ, and J-Bone watching. You've got the height and reach on me, so I'm absolutely taking out those chicken legs first. And after that, I will hit you repeatedly with your mic and then spill your drink on you. Then I'll proceed to check your wallet, get your ID to find your address, drive to your house, and dunk on your basketball hoop to further shame you. After that, I'll probably pet your pups and give your squirrel foe some HGH so he can get some heat behind those acorn missiles coming at your noggin. All love, though. You are not alone. G3. Jesus, just an incredibly savage beating that Sam handed me. You have to respect that effort. This made my morning, man, reading this. Thank you. If y'all are not up to speed with the squirrel situation in my backyard, the king one, man, that I keep getting footage of with the nutsack like a fucking god, what is he doing back there? This guy's running a squirrel army out of the tree in my backyard. He is unionizing with the other squirrels. They have too much power. It's out of control. Somebody has to step in and stop this guy. I don't care if it's a raven, a crow, a blue jay. Somebody has to come through. Please, other woodland critters that are listening, one of you rise up and take this bastard down. He's a neighborhood terrorist. That's what it is. Woodland terrorism. Unbelievable email, though. I don't appreciate you going out of your way to spill my own drink on me just because I spill constantly. And right now you've got me thinking about it, and there's a water bottle on each side of my laptop, and I'm just like, why would I even do this to myself? It's just a horrible setup for a guy who waves his arms around as much as he does when he talks like me. What an idiot. Anyway, I guess I have to pick a famous person to want to fight since Sam just crushed me. I'll go Quentin Tarantino. All right, and here's why. He's on my mind. Golden Globes. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, one of the best movies of last year. Some would say the best movie of last year. He's one of the best directors in the world, inarguably one of the most talented creative minds alive at this point. That's not arguable anymore. Look at that man's hit list. But he is a smug genius prick who desperately needs a beating. He always has. This guy's one of the most fightable, punchable human beings on earth, bar none. I respect him, I love his work, but I want to kick his ass. I think he would agree that he's one of the most fightable humans on earth. He needs a beating. Maybe some of his genius would rub off on me like Louis C.K. What? Quentin Tarantino. I feel like that'd be he's a big dude, too. Like, that's not going to be easy. And he's psychotic. And you've seen the shit he likes to put in his movies. The last 10 minutes of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was Brad Pitt bouncing a woman's head off of every object in a house he could find. On OCC, we were joking. He was like, fireplace mantle, bench, kitchen table, bar. Like, he was just banging her head off as much shit as he could find until there was no head left. I don't want that to happen to me. Who do you think came up with that? Brad Pitt? No, it's Quentin Tarantino. He's fucking crazy. And he's a big dude. So it would be challenging. Perhaps you get some creative genius knocked out of him into you. He needs it. God knows he needs it. I think during his acceptance speech at the Globes, he was like, typically I don't have anybody to thank because I write this shit by myself. I'm the greatest. It was like a Jordan moment. It was nasty. It was awesome. But he needs to be punched in the face badly. How is there not footage of him just getting hit on a daily basis? I don't think I've ever seen Tarantino get punched. It's crazy. Anyway, that's my famous person I want to fight. Brand new sponsor alert. First brand new sponsor of 2020. Hit the brand new sponsor horn. I'm just kidding. There is not one. RBP 256 is also brought to you by Acre Gold. I love gold. Have you heard about this? It's a badass company that lets you subscribe to gold bars. It's crazy. I know. But it's cool because you don't have to come out of pocket all at once for gold bars, which is always the problem with gold bars. And having gold bars is fucking tight on some Three Kings shit. We Three Kings be stealing the gold. Instead of coming out of pocket all at once, you subscribe on Acre for $30 or $50 a month, and Acre will send you a 2.5 gram gold bar every few months. I'm trying to get gold in the mail. You see commercials and read stuff about companies with no real brand behind them trying to get you to do this, do that. Buying gold today is like visiting a state fair drunk and hoping to find a lottery ticket. But when Acre hit us up, I actually checked out some of these other precious metal sites, and I was very confused by all the options. There's 12 billion SKUs, which, by the way, means stock keeping unit. Bet you didn't know that. I learned that last night. It's funny because I worked in online retail or merch for 8 years and never learned that. I love Acre though because it's like forced savings. You do the $30 or the $50 per month plan, and gold just shows up to your house. It's baller gold too because it's Acre branded and manufactured in freaking Switzerland like a goddamn James Bond movie in your mailbox, son. What are you waiting for? You can get gold delivered directly to your doorstep. GetAcreGold.com/Ross. That's GetAcreGold.com/Ross. And Acre is also giving away a gold bar. And you can win this gold bar by tweeting at get_Acre and me at WR Bolen and telling us why you deserve to be our winner of this gold bar. GetAcre.com/Ross. GetAcre gold.com/Ross. GetAcreGold.com/Ross. GetAcreGold.com/Ross. Fire those tweets off. Tag at get_Acre and at WR Bolen. And good luck. I love gold. Next segment. What the hell is happening in Australia? All right, I admit, been living under a rock last couple weeks, right? It's a rock covered in merchandise. And the only information I have on Australia and the horrible fires killing kangaroos and koalas and all the awesome Australian animals and burning up their shit, it came from the Golden Globes, which is admittedly not a great news source. So it's time to educate myself and you, or at least those of you who are as naive and idiotic as me, via NPR. And I'm going to read it in my NPR voice. I'm just kidding. I'm not. That would seem like I was mocking what is otherwise a worldwide fucking catastrophe. So I'm not going to do that, Ross. No, stop it. But I'm serious. It's not a joke. I needed some of this information. Don't know enough about what's going on in Australia. And I'm sure a lot of y'all do too because you're lazy. Just like me. Don't want to go read. Here you are. Listen to me read. There's a pair of massive bushfires, in southeastern Australia, right? It's turned into what is called a mega fire. 2,300 square miles of flames, a blaze more than 3 times as large as any known fire in California. So you know the fires in California that were always like, holy shit, this is out of control. We got firefighters having to come out of other states to help in California. This is 3 times as large as any known fire in California. That's crazy. The merged fire, which straddles the country's most populous states of New South Wales and Victoria, measures nearly 1.5 million acres. That's according to the Sydney Morning Herald. There are 135 bushfires in Australia's southeast. They've killed over 26 people already, more than 1 billion animals, destroyed nearly 3,000 homes. Shit's been going on for months. Unprecedented bushfires. Sweeping through areas larger than Massachusetts and New Hampshire combined. Been going on since September. NASA released an animation showing how smoke from the fires has reached the lower stratosphere and traveled as far away as Chile. It's crazy. And all this is tied into climate change stuff, by the way. 30,000 people attending a protest in Sydney to denounce the government's handling of the crisis, to call for action on climate change. Part of the reason we heard a lot from about Australia at the Golden Globes. Way more Australians in A-list Hollywood than you realize. They're really in there. Australia. Foster's for beer. Is that how the commercial goes? It doesn't matter. Anyway, this is a fucking absolute shitstorm of a catastrophe at this point. They got helicopters dropping in supplies. They got C-130 tankers dropping fire retardant on everything. I mean, it's an utter and total shitstorm. And they don't know how to win this. I mean, the loss of livestock will exceed 100,000 animals by the time this is all said and done. 100,000. And the conservation group we always reference when we're doing Animal of the Week, WWF Australia. WWF is the World Wildlife Fund, right? 1.25 billion animals, they estimate, have been killed in the fires. And they fear that some species, like the glossy black cockatoo and the knee-high kangaroo, face local extinctions. What the hell's a local extinction? If you go extinct, you're extinct, locally or otherwise. Well, hopefully they don't have any local or non-local extinctions. We don't want that. It's bad. Very bad. We don't want to lose entire species to fire. This shit is a disaster. If you look up, I mean, everybody and their mom is pitching in at this point. We got Ellen doing a GoFundMe with $1 bajillion in it already. Find a way. You know, I'll try to find one that makes sense for us too if I can. But y'all got to find it. If you have the means to help Australia in this situation, with all the amount of Animal of the Weeks that we've had come out of that country alone, we owe them. And this is fucked. Look, it's one thing when it's like people suffering, and I hate that too, but when it's a shit ton of animals, I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me. We don't have enough stuff going on. We need the whole goddamn country of Australia on fire as well. Fucking koalas, vicious as they may be. Some of the cutest animals in the world. Some of the craziest, most dangerous too. Those kangaroos will fuck you up. There is nothing scarier than one of those kangaroos that looks like it's been on steroids for a decade. With just the craziest muscles. Those things will beat your ass. And they're dying in droves because of these fires. It's fucked. That's what's going on in Australia. All right, they've got fire crews all over the place. The wind is a big part of the problem there. There's been wind shifts and ramps of up to 50 miles an hour. Trying to fight a fire and you got 50-mile-an-hour winds. Also, it's 104 fucking degrees outside. And everything's on fire. This sounds like a nightmare scenario they would create like in a computer virtual reality world for a fireman who was training for the worst possible mission of all time. But it's real, and it's happening in Australia. So, look, for those of you who think thoughts and prayers don't work, I don't know how to contend with them. Think about it, whatever you want to say. Good vibes into the fucking atmosphere. Just send positivity to the country of Australia if that's all you got. But if you got money, find a good place to put it to. Help all these animals and these people and these firefighters and all the other brave Australians who are standing up to try to help their country and keep their animals and their homes and land safe from the flames. For real. Next segment. Let there be merch. Finally. Last night, at like 7:50 p.m. Central Time, the first ever batch of Ross Bolen podcast merchandise created by Bolen Media became available. Finally. It took me 6 hours yesterday counting fucking shirts. Don't ask why I had to count them. Stop thinking through how I got to a place where I had to count them. Just know I had to count them. I'm counting shirts. 6 hours. I'm putting them in manually into this fucking system so y'all can order them. And we sell out of the goddamn RBP Astroworld hats in under a minute. Under a minute. And honestly, it wasn't even a cool thing. It wasn't cool. I wasn't stoked on like, oh, sick, the hats are gone. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. It felt like, you like working your way towards trying to hook up with a girl or a guy, whatever, for 6 months, and then you get there and you come instantly. And the whole experience is over. I was like, and we're live. And we got an email. It was like, congratulations on your first order. And then we got an email like 40 seconds later that was like, congratulations on your 50th order. And I was like, uh-oh. And then I looked and the fucking hats were gone. So I'm really sorry to everybody who didn't get a hat. I don't know what to do. Look, I ordered more already. The black Astroworld dad hat is sick, admittedly. I'm wearing the shirt, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitch. This is the Astroworld homage, as we're calling it. Homage. Astroworld homage is how I'm going to pronounce it. Shirt in black. We've got it in white as well. The merch is awesome. It's only for people on Patreon right now. If you're not on there, I'm sorry. You missed the drop. You definitely didn't get a hat. We got some white hats, too, with a mugshot on them. We got a few different types of shirts. I'm super stoked for everybody who's gotten their hands on merch so far. Thank you to everybody who supported. Seeing the amount of action on the store was very, very cool. I was just bummed that more people didn't get a shot at the hat. Like, I get that. Look, the hat is admittedly very cool. I might have overhyped it. It's because I wore the goddamn hat every day for like 2 months. That was on me. I should have mixed in the other shit. Everybody went after the hat. There's other good stuff on there. And I'm excited for everybody on Patreon to enjoy it. If you're wondering, like, oh my God, when are we going to get it? What about a wider release? I don't know yet. I'm busy. I got to ship this one first. But it's exciting shit. And shouts again to Jack Sheffield, who designed it all. Our first batch, I'm very, very proud of. I love the stuff. It's great. It fits great. It looks great. It is great. Next segment. You are not alone. So for a few months now, periodically, oftentimes like late night, as nighttime can be rough for those who are suffering, I'll fire off a tweet with a simple 4-word message. You are not alone. And I think the first night, and by the way, first and foremost, I understand how cheesy that sounds, just from a simple tweet standpoint, right? And I'm a person who has an issue with cheese. There's levels of cheese that rub me the wrong way when people are overly cheesy or they get all, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Overly emotional. I don't know. It can rub me the wrong way. I get it. I mean, I get that can seem like it's like, there's so much bullshit and fakeness on the internet that's what it is. I'm just so inundated with the bullshit that if I saw somebody tweet that and didn't know them, I'd probably think they were full of shit just looking for retweets. That's what I mean. And I get that. I get that there are people who see that tweet and probably think the same thing. I totally understand. The internet's a fucked up place. It's ruined all of us. That being said, it's a genuine feeling. And the first time I tweeted it, I was like, I literally only tweeted it because I felt so alone. And it was the middle of the night, and I couldn't sleep, and I was depressed and miserable. And I was like, fuck, dude, I don't know what to do about this. All my people are sleeping. I can't text anybody. These people got work at like 7 in the morning and kids and shit. My parents are fucking sleeping. They're old. They need their sleep. Right, Mom and Dad? Not that I don't, too. So I tweeted, you are not alone. And what I found was there are a lot of people on Twitter late night that are depressed or, drunk and sad or going through some shit that needed to see that. And now I've probably tweeted that, 20, 30 different nights, just periodically, randomly, as either I felt I needed it or as I felt it might be needed in general, especially over the course of like New Year's Eve, we went in. Some people are calling this like the Yana movement, hashtag Yana, like YANA, which by the way, I think is a thing elsewhere. Don't fucking come at me if that's your trademark or copyright or whatever. Good for you, dude. I haven't been saying that. I'm just saying people are saying it. Allegedly. Protected after all that legal jargon, right? Yeah. And now when I tweet this, it gets retweeted more and more. And it's become like a piece of our community, the RBP gang. This concept that you are not alone. And there's a reason that I find that to be so important. The hardest, most challenging things you will go through in this life, whether it's dry January or your parents died in a bus crash or whatever fucking horrific tragedy you have to go through, as we all have our tests and tragedies that we have to go through, no matter what you tell yourself, how prepared you are for it, no matter how much fucking meditation or healthy, clean living you have in the bag, to prepare to get to that fucking challenge, you're going to feel alone. It is inevitable. It is part of the human condition. We are not good at separating, at getting that feeling of loneliness, of solitude, of isolation out. We feel it. We cannot help it. It's a problem. When we go through stuff, we feel alone. We feel isolated, even if we're not. I am inarguably not alone as a human being. I have an incredible family, great parents, awesome brother, grandparents, so many friends, aunts, uncles. I am so fucking blessed beyond my wildest imagination. It's insane. And yet when I go through shit, I feel utterly alone. Utterly alone. So I know this to be a fact. It does not matter. If you go through rough shit, you will feel alone. And it is so, so hard to beat that feeling. So what I've found is that sometimes all you can do is remind yourself that even if you feel alone, you're not. It's just not real. And that feeling is going to go away. And that's a shitty piece of advice, and it's back to like the time heals all wounds thing. And that's where you get to one day at a time then, man. Just beat whatever it is you're facing one day at a time. You feel alone, you feel so alone that your mind goes to dark places you don't want it to. Just beat one day at a time. If you treat every day like that, I swear to God, the victories will start to add up like crazy. This from the small ones on a daily basis to the huge life ones that come out as a result. It'll blow your mind. But back to the you are not alone thing. It's just incredibly important to remember. No matter what you're going through, no matter how beat you might feel or how big of a shit the world has taken on you over the first 10 days of 2020, man, you are so not alone. You're just not. And nothing has been more evidence of that in my life than this community that we've created here, the RBP gang. Nothing. In fact, one of the ways that I have become, or I have started to combat that alone feeling over the past several weeks, has been with this community and on our Discord server and playing games with y'all at night, people who listen, and getting in touch with y'all on Twitter and through email and through DMs and shit. Like, that's been one of the ways that I've gotten to combat it, and it's been awesome. So thank you for that outlet, for this outlet, and for that opportunity. Because just like you, I feel alone too sometimes. And it's just, that's natural. That's how it fucking goes. But you got to have some tools in the chest to try to beat that shit. You can't just sit in it, wallow around in your loneliness. You will, inevitably, you will try that route. And it will hurt like fuck. And it's dangerous because if some people, you don't bounce back from that. Don't put yourself in that position if you don't have to. You're not alone. You're not. You shouldn't have to suffer in that feeling of loneliness. Get on fucking Twitter and tweet at me. I'll at least toss you a like, and then there you go. Now you know you're not alone. Right? Yana? No. Allegedly. Trademark. Hashtag copyright? What? We're done. Before you head out to take on the world, it's time for some very important announcements. First and foremost, you've been saddled with 2 legal obligations, having listened to the entirety of RBP 256, the first of which is that you must rate and review this podcast. You may be listening on Spotify, watching on YouTube, listening on SoundCloud. That's great. It's awesome. I appreciate you. Wherever you listen or watch, I love you. If you would, I need you to rate and review on Apple Podcasts. You might know it as iTunes. Are they still connected? Nobody knows. It's confusing. Apple, get your shit together. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts. It's still the biggest platform. It's still the one where the ratings and reviews go the furthest. 5 stars, 2 or 3 sentences about why you love the show. That's it. Rate, review, Apple Podcast. Check your first box. That legal obligation is complete. It's time to move on to number 2, which is to share the show with one person, one friend, one family member, one coworker, a neighbor, any one individual that you believe, you know what? I think Tim, my mailman, would really enjoy RBP. I saw that he wore a koala brooch to deliver my mail yesterday. Therefore, perhaps he is an animal lover and would enjoy this show. I don't know. Just pick a person. Share the show with them. One person this week, one person next week, one person every week until the week you die. Follow the show on Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast. We're on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod, and you can find us on Facebook if you're the middle-aged aunt of one of our listeners. You can follow me, Ross Bolen, at WR Bolen on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, at WRBOLEN on all 3 of those. We're on twitch.tv/BossRollin, where we're live when we do episodes. We're live right now. What's up, Twitch? We're live every night when I play Apex Legends. We play almost exclusively with podcast listeners and members of the RBP gang at this point. And as I said, our Discord community, a growing community of over 350 people-ish, I believe now, is incredibly cool and fun. And it's probably partially that way because it's still so small and exclusive, so I don't know why the fuck I'm plugging it on here. It's going to ruin the coolness of it. Well, there's no link for you to click, so you can't find it. Ha-ha! It's just a tease. Twitch.tv/BossRollin, though I would love you to be a part of. Follow, subscribe, whatever. We got over 400 subscribers on Twitch, which is a good amount for a dude who is literally below par video game skills and for the first 3 months played like so stoned that he could barely open his eyes or see. That's pretty cool. Thank you all for the support on twitch.tv/BossRollin. Check out Bolen Media's television and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. It's available wherever RBP is available. If you're watching The Witcher, we are now, in my opinion, the #1 Witcher podcast in the entire world. We have no stats to back that up. But it is, in fact, highly plausible now that I'm thinking about it. That will do it for RBP 256, recorded and produced by Mike Moody and Grant Davis at Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas. We'll be back Monday with episode 257, RBP 257, coming Monday. Have a great weekend, y'all. Podman gets paid. Respect Mr. Park. Strength and honor. Gang, gang, gang. Peace be with you and also with you.
Peace be with you and also with you. Go low, baby.